We got a Titans mock draft live coming at you right after the bumper. What's going on, Titans fans? Welcome back into the Glory Day Sports Show. I am your host, Jake Robertson. Make sure you go check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple iTunes. If you're checking us out on Twitter, make sure you hit that retweet and like button. Help us grow the channel. We've been doing this podcast for a little over a month now, and we've pretty much consistently doubled our numbers on a week-to-week basis, and we couldn't do it without you. But make sure you go hit all those likes and subscribes everywhere. But today, just like last week, we're doing another mock draft live. Just kind of talking over all these things. I don't know how good of a weekend you guys had, but I had a pretty good one after seeing that big trade come through. So we're really shifting our focus from free agency now into the draft. And we're really trying to plug in those holes. After today's show, just like last week, we're going to go in and rate all of your guys' mock drafts. We got about 8 of them, I think, this week. Pick isn't Joe Alt. You're wrong. If you checked out the thumbnail, Joe Alt was the thumbnail this week, and we'll play off of that. And what I'm really focusing on today is what I think Callahan and Rand are looking at, not so much my rankings. Personally, I might see it a little bit different from Joe Alt there, and we'll see how it plays out. But we're using PFF again today. But make sure you leave those comments, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the first pick. We're looking at 107. Last week, as you know, we did trade down from the 107 with, I believe, the Raiders, if I remember right. So here's how it's playing out. We got Malik Neighbors, Joe Alt, Brock Bowers. Those are the big 3 that we're going to see a lot in these mock drafts for the Titans going forward. And personally, I have Malik Neighbors as my 101 on my big board. I have him over Marvin Harrison Jr. and Joe Alt. I really have the big 3 at the wide receivers over any of the tackles, which I personally have Olu Fashanu as my number 1 tackle, and really did more of a deep dive over the weekend just to reconfirm that. Watch the Michigan game again, watch the Ohio State game again, and it just furthered my ranking on Olu. Man, I know Joe Alt is the guy that is in the thumbnail, like I said, but I like speed. I like Malik Neighbors, and that's where I'm going here. I'm going Malik Neighbors at the 107, and I honestly think that's a steal. As far as these tackles go, Joe Alt might be the consistent OT1, but I think a lot of these guys are pretty close, even getting down into Amarius Mims and guys at the back end of the first round, J.C. Latham, Troy Fautanu, Talisi Fuanga. I mean, they're all pretty close to me. I mean, Joe Alt might be the home run pick, but we're going Malik Neighbors here at 107. And we're not trading down. And you guys know I'm all team trade down, but want to kind of play it off a little bit different than we did last week. I'm going to try to not pick any players that I did on last week's mock draft, just so you guys can get a little bit more knowledge on some of these guys, especially later in the draft. Last week we did take Tyler Nubin here. Doesn't look like anybody's interested to trade. So if you guys are, D Good said, hey, it's unsubscribe. No problem with that. I don't like the idea of taking a linebacker here. I think Peyton Wilson is my linebacker 1, but I have an early 3rd-round grade on him, and it just kind of talks about where these linebackers are this season. And I know it's probably the biggest need outside of left tackle here, but we didn't fill left tackle in that 1st round, so it becomes even more of a need. So let's go and see what's open here. So, I mean, Jordan Morgan, he's that next tier maybe, but he might be in a tier all by himself. Dude has 2,400 almost 2,400 snaps at left tackle at Arizona over the past 3 years, and has consistently gotten better there. The biggest concern really coming out was, what is his arm length? I think he had like 35-inch arms. He has good arm length. Maybe not the overall athlete that you might not want to get there, but he, as far as hand placement goes, he might be the best in the draft. I love what he does there. I don't mind having him at LT. So, and I think Bill Callahan can do great work with him. Karan, not a huge fan. He dominated at Yale, but there's a lot to be learned there. And Blake Fisher, obviously Joe Alt's running mates, right tackle only. Patrick Paul, I really have he just doesn't have an anchor. That's the biggest thing. He's got the size, the length, and maybe Callahan could get him and mold him into a great pass protector at the next level. And the Dominic Puny, obviously, he's going to have that connection with Fuchs, or whatever you call him, who's going to be a offensive lineman assistant. But I'm going Jordan Morgan here. I think we just solidify Will Levis's blind side there. I don't mind it. I think he can be an above-average tackle in the league very early, and really isn't that you're not going to have to mold him. You're going to pretty much get a day one starter, I think, there. So here we are, 4th round, 106. We've cleared up a lot on the offense. We could look back to the defense here and really look and see. Go defensive line. I don't mind taking that here in the 4th round. You could get another corner. Obviously, safety is a need. I don't really like any of the safeties here. And we know they're bringing in Chris Abrams-Drain and on a visit that was reported last week. Michael Hall, little bit younger. Don't mind him on the interior. And I think you're getting him a year earlier than you should. Leonard Taylor, I may have taken Michael Hall last week. Leonard Taylor, uber athlete, and is young. I think he's like 20 years old coming out. I think he might be a redshirt sophomore. We can check that. Yeah, he's a sophomore. Great physical traits. Could really become, if I had to pick one of these guys that becomes elite at the next level, it might be Leonard Taylor. And then we know McKinley Jackson, another guy that they're bringing in on a personal visit. I like McKinley. I don't like him here. Maybe around later. We can look at the linebackers, Cedric Gray, Michael Barrett, and then a drop-off, really. I mean, don't like that. I do like Jerry and Jones as well. We're going to go I would go Michael Hall, but like I said, we probably went with Michael Hall last week. So we're going to go Leonard Taylor, pairing up with Jeffrey Simmons, and you got some physical freaks on the interior. High upside. And then we're back here in the 5th round. Christian Boyd, another guy that should get a shout out with those two. Wouldn't mind that. Nelson Caesar here, Ben Sennett. Tight end, you got to get a blocking tight end. And Ben Sennett, I mean, he's kind of a do-it-all. Probably doesn't get the love he should. And then Theo Johnson, physical freak. I think we drafted him last week as well. Michael Barrett, like I said, there's pretty much a drop-off after Michael Barrett. And then Zach Zinter, great guard. Obviously, the gruesome injury. I think we drafted him last week as well. Javon Foster, I think we drafted him. Could go Ben, could go Barrett. Linebacker is obviously the biggest need right now. I don't think he's going to wear a green dot for you. He's in the right place at the right time. And we'll get our linebacker there. So we got 4 more picks hopping into the 6th round. If you guys are checking us out for the first time, make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe. Luke McCaffrey would 100% be off the board at this point in time. If he's not, you're running in that card. Tip Ryman. I mean, we could go back to tight end. Wouldn't mind that at all. Brennan Jackson, We love Brendan Jackson, of course. We drafted him last week. I can't just pick Luke McCaffrey just because it's not realistic. Tip might be there, though. We're in a good tip. Now we got these 3 7th rounders. So we're looking for special teamers at this point. These are guys that are not going to play significant snaps. You could go punt returner, kick returner, but you're looking for somebody that can gun, who can just fill in to those roles. Curtis Jacobs, if you're going linebacker, physical, kind of plays that overhang for Penn State. Wouldn't mind that there. If we didn't go Tip, we could go Tanner McLaughlin here out of Arizona as well. Played wide receiver, and when he transferred to Arizona, switched to tight end. I think he's 6'5", 250 now. Not the blocking that you would want at the position, but dude runs like a wide receiver, has size, can go up and get the ball, can be a red zone target for you. Wouldn't have minded that if we were to switch that. Trevin Wallace, 100% off the board at this point in time. Wouldn't mind going with one of these safeties. And then as of last week, you guys know we went Trey Taylor, who is maybe my sleeper in this draft. He's off the board at this point in time. So we can't go Trey there. Tyler Owens would be very good. I think we're still going safety here, and that's going to be Kenny Logan Jr. This is a guy that really broke out this season, will lay some lumber, might not offer what you want on the back end as a safety. You're not going to put him in coverage a lot, but he can get there in the box and really deliver a big blow, and he's a playmaker. Sometimes you just get those it guys. He has that it, I think. So we're back again. Dallas Grant is one of those guys that could really fit into that role as a great special teamer, I believe. Nathaniel Watson, definitely slept on here. This is a guy that could be a first, second down defender for you on the interior. Played very well at Michigan State this past season. Wouldn't mind that. We may have taken him last week, so we might go a different direction. I think Katon's way gone by now. We could go Crumdy. I mean, there's not a lot of like here, personally. Blake Watson could really, I mean, you can pair him up with Tony Pollard, get them in a room together. He can offer that return specialist ability for you as well, I believe. Kind of mulling this over. Yeah. We're going to go Blake Watson here. See how this last pick plays out. Kinsley. Maybe we go depth on the offensive line. We go Kingsley. Iquanu. Don't mind that at all. Played very well at the Senior Bowl. Has great tape. I don't mind going Kingsley there. All right, 252. We got the Chiefs pick here. Go a multitude of directions, and I mean, we might even be able to get Blake Watson like we were looking at last time. Could also go wide receiver here. Hayden Hatton. I haven't got to Griffin's tape yet. He did have a good testing performance at the Combine. It's a guy I definitely want to go back and watch. Hayden Hatton. Wouldn't mind that. But we're going Blake Watson here to wrap it up. Let's see what we got going on. All right, so we got Malik Neighbors coming in, pairing him up with Nuke and Calvin Ridley. You got versatility there. He could either drop into the slot and be a day one starter there. You can move Nuke into the slot. Maybe he transitions as he gets older and loses. I mean, he's not an uber athlete even coming out originally. If he loses maybe a step, you move him into the slot, and you just got consistency there. And Malik Neighbors can be that deep threat on the outside with Calvin Ridley. Wouldn't mind that. I think you just have versatility between those three. Jordan Morgan comes in, day one starter, and you pair him with Peter Skoronski and Cush on that left side, and you're set in stone there. Right side, you're probably looking at Daniel Brunskill at right guard, and right tackle, you kind of got that smorgasbord of MPF. You could put Radence there, have them battle it out. We could maybe see another free agents come in there and battle with them. Leonard Taylor, going to be a rotational piece with Sebastian Joseph, no day. And Michael Barrett, I mean, he's going to be competing for that linebacker 2 spot opposite of Kenneth Murray. Tip Ryman, you got your blocking tight end. Decent athlete, can come in and compete with Wiley and Chig, and you'll see some rotational of the snaps there. Kenny Logan, I mean, that's a special teamer. I mean, he could eventually maybe get some snaps and rotation there. We know we need depth at safety position. That's something we didn't really address in free agency yet. Might see change in that, but he can maybe be that safety 3 for you. Maybe not in year 1, but maybe year 2. Kingsley, I mean, you got depth on the interior now. Don't mind that. If Cush goes down, I think Kingsley can come in and be sufficient, even early on. And maybe you have some upside there too. Maybe he can kick out to guard and play there. And then Blake Watson, you got your RB3. I think Chestnut and Haskins are eliminated from the 53 with that. And Blake Watson can come in and maybe be that return specialist for you as well. So don't mind that. They gave us a B+. I mean, personally, I'd probably give us about a B+ as well there. But I don't mind that. But next, let's go ahead and rank your guys' mock drafts. So let's go ahead and kick that off. It looks like we've got Christian here to start off, and he got Joe Alt at 10, traded down with the Jets. Okay. If the Jets are trading up, they're taking tackle, in my opinion, and they're taking Joe Alt more often than not. So I don't know how realistic there is, but maybe it happens. Wouldn't mind it. Byron Murphy in second, don't like that. Rick Pearsall in third, love that. Kalen King, nope. Tyrese Knight, nope. Brownlee, love it. I mean, then you got the 3 7s. And you picked up a second from the Jets next year. Don't like Anias. I called him a bust earlier last week, I believe. And then you get Tip, the last pick in the draft. Heck yeah. I mean, there's a lot to love. There's a lot to hate. I got to go C. If we came away with it, I could maybe talk myself into it just with the top end of Rick Pearsall and Joe Alt. And Byron Murphy, I have him as the second-rated DT in this class behind Braden Fisk. But I don't know. Putting him next to Sweat at that Texas defense, I didn't like how either of them really used their hands. Byron Murphy is an uber athlete, though. So maybe I'm wrong, and I can't go DT in the second round. I don't care how much of a need it is. I think you can go way down this draft board and get similar production. And it's hard to find just a upper echelon DT in these classes. And we've got one in Jeffrey Simmons. So you just need a running mate for him. And Sebastian Joseph, we'll see what he's got. You got to have one more there, of course, but I don't know if I'm going second round with Byron Murphy there. So next up, we got Anthony Talisi Fuanga at pick 7. I mean, we see Fuanga really flying up a lot of people's boards, and I don't mind that at 7. I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, apples to apples with Joe Alt, Olu. I mean, it's very similar to me. Braylon Trice, I didn't like Trice's game. He's very upright, played very well in the postseason, but the other games, I just didn't like what I saw. Renardo Green in the 4th, I love that. Green is very underrated. Cowing was one of my guys going into the Senior Bowl, but he dropped down further my board than just about anybody other than maybe like a Kalen King who completely fell off, basically. Marcus Harris, Darius, Dwight McGlothern, love Dwight in the 7th, and the Josh Wallace. That's fine. This is better than the last one. I'll say that. There's no trades in this one, so it's pretty chalk. But I mean, there's some. Got to give it a B minus. It could be better. Volcano in the chat says, "What's up, man? Do you think we could overachieve this year?" I mean, yes, based on last week, but now we're flying up there. I think it's us in Houston. Going to be competing in this division. Jacksonville, Indianapolis. I mean, they could surprise as well if Anthony Richardson really takes that next step. Indianapolis could be dangerous, and then Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence has a bounce back season. I mean, it's going to be competitive this year. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we won the division, though, which I would consider overachieving, especially early in this off season. So we got another one here. Oh, wait. Oh, same one. So this is Kai. Ooh, tiny. And let's go ahead and do this. All right, so he traded down to 9, picked up a 3rd, got Edger and Cooper. Edge is him and Jeremiah Trotter. Those are the two that I think before that or after that, there's a huge drop off. And Edge, I liked his tape. I mean, very, very gifted athlete. He's got the long arm length. Coverage scares me, but I think he could be an early contributor early on. Love Roman Wilson. He's not getting his dues at this point in time, but he's kind of coming up, and you see some rankings coming up where he's wide receiver 4. So Joe Alt at 9, Roman, I mean, I like, and then Michael Hall, Cam Kitchens. Cam Kitchens is such an interesting prospect because I see him ranked in some people's second round. This is where I kind of have him. Javon Baker, I think he's far, far gone at this point. Same with Haddon. I mean, I could see Haddon falling into the 6th, but I don't see him in the 7th. Elijah Jones, similar. I think he's going 3rd or 4th round. I don't think you're getting him in the 7th round. Maybe the best man coverage corner in this entire draft. Plays a lot of off coverage, but he's showed. I mean, at the Senior Bowl, you were worried, or not Senior Bowl, with the Combine, you were worried about his overall athleticism. I think he showed more than enough, and it was actually better than I anticipated. I really like this though. We're going A- here. It's not very realistic down the stretch, but those first 4 picks will definitely give you what I'm looking for here. And out. Next up, we got Thomas. Thomas is always up in the chat. If you're up there, make sure you shout out somebody. So we got 2 trade downs here. Traded down from 7th to 9th. Maybe Chicago traded up for one of these wide receivers to pair up with Caleb. Maybe Harrison, Neighbors went early, and Rome is the last one, or vice versa. And then you got a 3rd this year, a 3rd next year. I mean, maybe. I don't know if they do that. And then traded down again to 12 and picked up another 3rd and 4th this year. So I don't think that's very realistic. If this is the case, I think the quarterback's probably off the board at this point. That's the only reason Denver would trade up. I could see maybe one of these trade downs, but not both of them. But if that's the case, we're just going to go off the players here. Talisi Fuanga at 12. We know we like Fuanga, Newbin, DeAndre Sweat in the 3rd, Jeremiah Trotter. We talked about him just a little bit ago. Then we got another trade down. Or no, this is another trade down with Green Bay and picked up a 5th. And you got 2 of the 3rds. I don't think they're doing that. No, don't think they're doing that at all. But again, we like Puny. Dadrian, uber athlete. Malik Washington, definitely one of my guys. I went back and forth when I did my guy episode last week if it was going to be Malik Washington or Brendan Rice. We settled on Brendan Rice, but Malik's definitely up there. Brendan Jackson, Trey Taylor, Blake Watson. You definitely watched the show last week. We could definitely tell that. So based on that, I got to go A. But realism, I don't think a lot of this happens. Would love it though. I would love it. So we got one more, I think. The Travelers Within. We got pick 7. We swapped with Arizona, who's trading back up after pick 4. I don't know who they'd be trading up for. Maybe they're looking for one of these linemen. Maybe they didn't go wide receiver at pick 4. I don't know. But we picked up a 3rd and 4th regardless. That seems rational to me as far as compensation. And maybe Arizona's justice. I don't think so. I think it's probably one of the 3-4 teams behind them that does that. But regardless, we got Brock Bowers at 11. Personally, I mean, if we're going off big board, love it. I don't. How I see it is he's wide receiver 4. You got Rome, you got Neighbors, you got Harrison, and then Brock Bowers is just a huge receiver in my opinion. He's still growing as well. I think he could play probably around 230 this past season. He maybe play at 240 in the near future, but I don't think he's ever going to be that 250 run blocking tight end for you. Pound for pound, definitely up there as far as a run blocker, but he could definitely improve. And then you got Jordan Morgan. We drafted Jordan Morgan earlier today. Jermaine Burton, don't mind that. Definitely where he belongs in the third. You're not reaching there, but good value, I guess. Michael Hall, love it. Kamara. I haven't actually seen how he pronounces it, but we'll go Kamara there. Don't mind that. Katon, and like we said, he was in 7th round in this mock draft, going in the 5th. That's where I kind of see it. Trevon Wallace, another guy that's usually there in the 7th in PFF. I think he goes in the 4th to 5th round range, so maybe there in the 6th. Who knows? Quan Hardy, who, in my opinion, is better than Kalen King. Don't mind that. And then Tanner McLaughlin. Good job. We applaud you there. We definitely like Tanner, and he might not fit. I would like it better if he didn't go Bowers in the 1st, because at that point you got 4 tight ends on this roster. I think we probably only keep 3, and you're sending. He's basically sent to the practice squad right off the bat. And then Andrew Raym, don't like that. Andrew Raym, even in the 7th, I don't like that. Watching this whole past year as an Oklahoma fan at the Senior Bowl, he did not perform well. I think he probably transitions to guard at the next level. He could stay at center, but man, good players, maybe not the best overall concept I would like to follow. We'll go B+ for that. But I mean, that is it, guys. You guys knocked it out of the park today. We'll be back on Thursday to talk about this Legarius Sneed team with the boys. We also got Stoney Killy that'll be joining us as well. So make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll check you guys on the flip side. Peace.